That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon, you want one quick question?
We can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.
What's up? Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. My name is Rashad Milligan. If you are new to the channel, this is the road to 5K subs. Today, we're once again talking about the biggest story in all of sports, and that's Shedeur Sanders falling all the way to day 3 of the NFL draft. Once a projected top 3 pick has slid all the way to day 3, which is insane. And obviously, a lot of times you hear people say politics with this type of stuff, but what exactly is politics? Like, what is it specifically? And I feel like I have a bit of insight that I could share, so I will be doing that. But I definitely just want to kind of go over everything here that I have pulled up. So let's do that one by one, shall we? Hold on, give me a second here. I'm gonna drag this out, make sure I'm good. Okay, bet. Let me share this. All right, bet. Okay,
So we finally get home and get settled. 2 nights before pro day, I get bad dreams. So that's how I know, like, the devil was trying to work on me. So then the first night I have horrible dreams, bad dreams. I wake up hard for me to go back to sleep, and I'm like, why all of a sudden I'm having a bad dream 2 days before pro day? Like, why? Out of all days, why now? You feel me? So that's like kind of how I understand, and even with dad, and anytime greatness and all that stuff is about to happen and all that stuff, then you see the devil try to like play his games, and try to distract your mind, get you off, throw you different curveballs in life and all this different type of stuff. So night before pro day, same thing, get another bad dream. But I was prepared because I just went through it the night before. Then I'm just thinking like, why? It just don't make sense. Like, how am I continuously getting bad dreams back to back? And life been the same every day. And one of the most important days of my life. Isn't that wild, bro?
it is.
I had no control, bro.
Yeah, like you want to tell us what happened? You remember?
Yeah. All right. So I think the one before pro day was I was dropping back and it just felt like the ground was like marble and I got on cleats. So like I'm slipping, fall, you know what I mean? Like doing my drop back, slipping and all that. Then like we just take a break, kind of like how we took a break and we walked down to the other end for like red zone or anything. It was like similar to that. We took a break. We walked down, then it was just like 2 people walked towards me like super, super, super fast. And like I couldn't like say nothing, I couldn't run, I couldn't do anything, you feel me? And they just attacked me. So like, when next day I get on the field, I grip that turf a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I make sure I got a good grip on it because the night before my dreams was just so, it felt so real. It felt so real. I prayed, I prayed through those times and I understood what was happening because that would always happen to dad. Soon as something big's about happening, boom, that's when he had the blood clots and stuff. And that's when he got his toes taken and all that type of stuff. Like, as soon as something big about to happen, then some off happens. That's just how it been. Like, that's just how the trajectory of everything been. In most instances, when you're about to do something to change the world almost and change perspectives, have an influence on the world. And that's why I know my purpose is bigger than just me. And it's bigger than just my thoughts. It's just, I'm just in position to be able to, and the family's in position to be able to change some things.
Excuse me. Make sure you guys check out the two legendary podcasts of Shedeur Sanders on Overtime. Shout out to Overtime. They have a couple good podcasts on their network. Obviously, I shout out Flage's podcast all the time because a lot of the stuff that were quote unquote scoops or breaking news, she literally just said on our podcast like months in advance or weeks in advance, episodes in advance before it became quote unquote breaking news. So it's like I didn't have any inside information. Just listen to our podcast. So listen to these kids' podcasts or these young adults podcasts and things of that sort. This caption right here from Change the Narrative with the end we on the clock hashtag. I feel like a bit dramatic, but yes. Yes. I do think that's interesting. That's interesting for sure. That Shedeur said that he was feeling that way before a lot of the big times and stuff like that. And he's 100% right. Like a lot of times when something big is about to happen, you do feel you know, you do have those kind of spiritual warfare sometimes and things of that sort. So that's 100% real. Okay. Now let me get to, I guess, just sharing my perspective on the matter and things that kind of like go on when people say politics. From the time I left Jackson in 2021, in October 2021, to go back to Atlanta, and my whole situation personally that went viral and stuff like that, that was July 2021 when everything kind of came to light of what was going on with me and Jackson State football, and more specifically with coach and the whole team and stuff like that. That was July 2021 when all that stuff went kind of blew up to the public. From the time that I left October 2021 to now, I've had probably about 5 to 10 people call / email / DM me, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm open to everything. Like anybody reaches out, like I'm open to it. Like we talk and stuff. And a lot of the people around the country, bro, were like really just searching for dirt, to be honest. Like it wasn't even, I feel like, really kind of in good journalistic integrity or whatever. It was all just like searching for dirt on like Coach Prime and Shedeur. Well, not even Shedeur. I ain't even gonna say that. But Coach Prime for sure, for sure, for sure. On Deion, a lot of the people, they was just looking for like bad stuff on Deion, for real, for real. And especially after the situation with the columnist over there in Denver happened, the Sean guy. A lot of people were just calling me and stuff like, "What was your experience? Like, was he a bad person? Was it that? Well, didn't this happen? And didn't this happen? And didn't this happen?" And like I said, bro, regardless of how anybody, what I'm saying, treats me or tries to portray me or anything like that, try to like throw dirt on my name, would you this and that. I ain't rooting for nobody's downfall. I'm not no hater. I'm not no blind hater. And I'm not rooting for any, like I said, I'm not rooting for anybody's downfall, especially another black man's down. Like that's just not my body, bro. Like that's just not my spirit. I can't move that way. Like morally, like that just goes against my morals. And like I was being honest with them. I was like, yes, this did happen. This is also a part of it, kind of like on both sides where a lot of the tension was coming from and stuff like that. And I was just being straight up and honest. And because a lot of times it was just coming from like a place of attack, like, well, what didn't he do this to you? And didn't this happen? And didn't this happen? They're like, well, what's the person from Jackson State? This was a big outlet asking me this. It was like, who's a person from Jackson State that could that had a bad experience with him that I could reach out to? Do you have their number? Can you say? First of all, I'm not giving you nobody's number, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy to like bash someone. Like, first of all, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I got your number from who? From Rashad. Then they're gonna be like, Rashad, why are you giving my number to the man? No, bro, I'm not doing that. I'll give you their social media, and you could DM them just the same way you DM me and reach out to me and things like that. But especially when it's something bad, bro. If it was something good, then yeah, like folks, you know what I'm saying, on a cold call, they'll be open to it. But like a cold call to like badmouth somebody from like years ago is crazy, bro. Like I'm just not that big of a hater, dog. Like it's never been that deep to me, to be honest. And like I said, like what the things the tension and the moments that we had or whatever, the runs-ins we had in Jackson, bro, it was serious. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like I'm 25 at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a couple years out of college. It was my third job. It was the biggest market I ever been in. And then when coach came and stuff like that into the market, it immediately became the biggest gig of my life. Like just out of nowhere. Like I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like I was kind of, they hired me as like a backup or a number two and stuff like that. And then I became all of a sudden like the primary guy for the entire paper and the entire company. You know what I'm saying? In the small market of Jackson, Mississippi, which at the time was the biggest market for me in my career. Uh so you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they tried it. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, they tried it, and like I had plenty of reasons to be mad and hold grudges and stuff like that. But like holding grudges just isn't good, period. So like I eventually let that go. Time, obviously helped and stuff like that. Um and regardless, it's like I'm not rooting for no other man's downfall. At the end of the day, Deion got into coaching because he was coaching his sons from Pee Wee football, and then he just kept doing it, and then he ended up falling in love with it. And like the main thing, you know what I'm saying, that he cares more about this, about his sons getting drafted and stuff like that, and Shedeur getting drafted and seeing Shedeur thrive and stuff like that, than he did his own success. Like because is his kid. His kids gave him like bigger meaning in life and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he wanted to, if it was all about just him and everything like that, his story possibly could have been like, as he said, over in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? When he was depressed and things of that sort. But those kids, bro, are the reason why he's holding on, and they mean like everything to him, bro. Like I don't think he loved anything more than them kids, bro. I mean, some people might tell a joke and say himself, but yeah. Uh yeah. People, like I said, the entire point of that story is to say, just in my experience and my brief interaction and kind of, run-ins with them and stuff like that, which was 4 years ago, by the way. 5, 10 people from national outlets, people all around the country, all around America, you name it, have called, emailed, DM, texted, trying to get dirt, information, bad info about Deion Sanders, bro, and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, if this is these people's mindsets, they really trying to take it down Deion to this point, you know what I'm saying, like that. Just imagine how the owners in the front office people feeling. Like they probably trying to take bro down to keep it a bean. They probably trying to take bro down to keep it a bean. And the way to take him down, quote unquote, or whatever, is like, quote unquote, humble his sons or whatever the case might be. They don't want to invite that type of energy, you know what I'm saying, into the organization. Y'all remember with Tim Tebow and Kaepernick and stuff like that. When Tim Tebow was doing his whole thing, you know what I'm saying? Like people didn't want to, you know what I'm saying, sign Tim Tebow. Because if you sign Tim Tebow, then you're gonna get a whole media herd around him every single day at practice, after practice. You're gonna ask Belichick, when is Tebow gonna play? What does packages look like for Tebow? Because the public's interest is all in Tim Tebow, you know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing, like I said, with Colin Kaepernick. Like when Colin Kaepernick was doing what he was doing, everybody kind of knew, especially like, he picked out the fro and stuff and went with the new look. People knew what was going on was pretty historic. And he had the historic look to it with the afro, going with the afro. And you kind of knew there was a good chance like that was gonna be it for him. Like I was surprised that the 49ers ain't cut him that season or anything like that. They let him finish out the year. So with that being said, like the attention that was gonna bring. And that was one of the reasons I think initially in those first couple years that teams didn't want to bring Colin Kaepernick in, because it's like, do you want to deal with all this media attention and herds and fans and this and that and all this noise? Do you want to deal with that for a quarterback who is probably, I think Cap at the time he left was an above average starting quarterback in the league. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the same thing with Shedeur. It's like, okay, we can bring in Shedeur and he has high upside. And I think at worst, Shador is going to be an average quarterback, like a mid quarterback. He might end up being just a a backup who is like a what was it, Jacoby Brissett? You know what I'm saying? Where he's like kind of like always a backup, but it's like he starts when he needs to, and he's good enough to get the job done and keep a job in the NFL for like 14 years. I think that's Shedeur's floor. You know what I'm saying? Because he just has that football IQ, everything like that, and he can get better when he struggles. I've seen him struggle at different places or have, I don't even know if struggle's the right word, but have like rough patches and figure it out. And when you talk about the attention and everything, like that's nothing to him. That's his whole life because he's Deion Sanders' son. Like that's just his whole life. Uh, it's tough, man. This is really tough. It's really tough to see, and it's crazy, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. It's crazy. 2 days in a row is crazy. Day 3 is insane, and it's at the point now where it's like where everybody said he's a backup quarterback now. So it's like, do teams even want to bring all that attention in for the for the backup quarterback? I said black quarterback, but yeah, man. I think you look kind of at the promotion right from Jackson State and Colorado. On one end, it was great for business. You bring in a lot of money and stuff like that. On the other end, I think people are looking at that as like that's what you get. Whoever gets Shedeur, whoever gets Shiloh, and that's insane, bro. Because it's just like, dang, you punishing him for what his dad was doing to make some money and things of that sort. And on the NFL side, like Deion really good with the NFL. Like, Roger Goodell's nephew was playing for Jackson State. Hold on, let me share that. I pulled that up in the tab. But Roger Goodell's nephew was playing for Jackson State. I believe the NFL like helped funded like Jackson State's renovated practice field, and kind of Walmart did as well. Uh oh, uh oh. Hold on. Let me Jeez Louise. Hold on. Let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see. A lot of sound, a lot of sound, a lot of sound, a lot of sound, a lot of sound. Oh, okay, okay. I was like, where's the sound coming from? But yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. If I can't pull it up, it might just be just move it on to the next thing. But yeah, Roger Goodell's nephew was playing for Jackson State. Here it is right here. Roger Goodell's nephew was playing for Jackson State, and he was at the game and everything like that. You see him hugging his nephew and stuff. Hey, so I say all this to say, like, Deion is in great standing and always has been in great standing with like the NFL front executives, namely like Roger Goodell and the people with the money, just for being Deion Sanders. You know what I'm saying, one of their kind of most profitable faces ever. And so, but with the individual teams and team owners, like that's a whole kind of another, like, you know what I'm saying, government, 32 different governments and everything like that. And they're like, nah, we don't want that. So it's crazy, but that is the politics when people say politics, just to give you guys a little more kind of insightful answer on that. And when people are like, when you hear the things of what, when people say like people against Deion, this is a message against Deion, woo, woo, this and that, and you say, no, it isn't. Because Travis went number 2. I just told you straight up my experience of people trying to get dirt and bad news on Deion for the past 4 years of my life. So it's definitely like a lot of people out there that's trying to take down Deion. But yeah, Kalen Saunders, he posted, he said, "Child, all right, y'all be easy. I'm finna hop on for it." After the Saints took Tyler Show. And then Cam Jordan said his own piece. He said, now what if we pull a 2 quarterback draft like the Commanders did with RG3 and Kirk Cousins? What if they're pretty much saying, man, they wanted Shedeur too. Like the same way the fan base in New Orleans is going crazy right now, bro. Nobody's happy. Like it's a couple comments in every like section that's like, oh yeah, Kellen got his guy. I trust Kellen. I'm going with Kellen and stuff like that. Everybody else in New Orleans is like, this is terrible. How could you do this? I'm no longer a fan. I feel like once you get to like, I'm done with this franchise, I'm done being a fan, I think that's when like the fandom goes to another level. Shout out to Rod Walker, my dog. Kellen Moore and Shedeur Sanders. he was right there in those conversations. Those are really tough decisions. Really good player. We think really highly of him. Ultimately, when you go through what you have to make a decision, we felt like Tyler was the right one for us. So it doesn't seem like that 2 quarterback draft is about to happen. Kellen Moore going against the grain and going against the fans early on. Interesting choice there, Kellen, but we'll see what happens. Warren Sapp says it's personal now. # wow. Yeah, they're saying it's personal now. So there's that. And then Stephen A., he brought up something that a source told him. He said, somebody just texted me this message, and they are absolutely correct. This is a bad look for the NFL. Feels like a Kaepernick level collusion. All the hard work, all the hard work the NFL league office officials office puts to eradicate these kinds of perceptions, only to turn around and watch the owners look like they're colluding, messing up everything. What has been done to Shedeur will outshine everything else in this draft. We'll never believe this is just about talent evaluation again. 100%. It's a lot of people that told me like, Shedeur is just not a good quarterback. He's just not that good. He's just an average guy. Bro, no. Like Shedeur did way more than enough to be drafted, bro. Especially in the first 4 rounds, especially when you look at the quarterbacks taken ahead of him. Dylan Gabriel, Jalen Milroe, all due respect to these guys. Tyler Show, Jackson Dart, and Jackson and Cam Ward. You know what I'm saying? Like, all due respect to those fellows, but when you look at those guys and Shedeur's resume in college, he definitely fit like the qualifications to be an NFL quarterback. To get drafted in the first 3 rounds, 100%. And that's not even like his name. People say, what about his name? What about his name? Well, any other quarterback in college football who goes to 2 separate programs, 2 seasons each, correct? And flips the entire transfer portal to come to him, because a lot of those guys that he was getting, he was recruiting them. It wasn't just Deion. A lot of those guys, especially on the offensive side of the ball, offensive linemen and wide receivers, Shedeur was doing the recruiting for him. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? He's crazy, bro. So a guy who did the biggest recruiting flips in transfer portal, and a huge part in the biggest flip of DeJohn Warren Nugget, who was committed to UGA and then flipped to Jackson State as a cornerback. And then Travis Hunter, obviously, as you guys know, committed to Florida State and then flipped to Jackson State on signing day. For a guy like that to do that and then turn up both of those programs from where they were in recent years, like he said, from the 2010s to where they are now, full stadiums, everything like that. You look at Jackson State, new uniforms, new this, new that. Like, and a lot of that stuff was obviously in the works, but like those guys, Shedeur and his dad, sped that up 10x it and stuff like that. And then to go to Colorado and do a lot of the same stuff that they was doing in Jackson State, of an empty stadium at a Power 4 program that nobody cared about, and to fill that up and make it must-watch TV for America, bro, with just the marketing and everything like that from Deion and Shedeur as well, with the branding of the watch, the Rolex, and to make the song Perfect Timing, and to have Lil Wayne and all these people on the sidelines at the Colorado football game. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff, bro. I don't know how you could look at that if his name was not Sanders and still be like, nah, he just getting the hype because of Sanders. Bro, you can't ignore all the other stuff that I just named. Like, if his name was different and he did all the stuff that he did in his college career, it's the same thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the exact same thing, in my opinion. I think one of the coolest things with this, and you know what I'm saying, like, on a brighter side, was discovering Shiloh's Twitch. Like, that was a pretty entertaining stream. I was watching it tonight, and he was giving the answers like in real time. So I don't know. I appreciate the transparency, everything like that. And it was an entertaining stream. So salute to Shiloh for that. Some people say the jewelry. So E. Dewey Smith, shout out to Pastor E. Dewey Smith. I've interviewed him before. I don't know if I uploaded that to the channel to say he's a friend of the channel, but I've interviewed him before. Nice dude. My little sister, fun fact, very fun fact, got baptized at E. Dewey Smith Church in Atlanta. W.E.W. Smith, W. little sister. Anyways, he said nobody wants to draft a quarterback who wears big chains and jewelry. They cannot win. And we were talking about the diamonds dancing and everything like that discussion. It was from Jalen Hurts himself with the Kango. Shouts out to the Kango. Shouts out to old head Jalen Hurts, things of that sort. So yeah, that's 25 minutes on the entire Shedeur Sanders thing, all the way up from the behind the scenes politics that have been going on and this agenda to really humble or like just distance himself from everything that comes with Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders and the entire camp. So yeah, there's that. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, next topic.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Enjoy Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Yeah, we can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.